And we're live.
So, guys, should we get on our hands and knees and just bow down to the Messiah that returned to the Toronto Raptors, the vice chairman of the Toronto Raptors, the president
We're not worthy.
of the Toronto Raptors?
We're not worthy.
I think wait, did I say that? We're worthy on the championship run. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now, just know that you are locked in on To The Point with
Skip
and the King. Thank you, Andrew Reece, for joining us today, because I'm pretty sure this is a hot topic. We were supposed to cover this before your tragic loss and months ago. So if you guys discredit us, we were out there before that. Okay, just to let you know. Now, I gotta ask you, Andrew Reece, how do you feel about Masai Ujiri, the Messiah, the giant of Africa, coming back to the Toronto Raptors to lead us to the homeland?
I'm very happy he's coming back. I never had any doubts he was going to come back. Normally, you know how the NBA works. When an executive is going to leave or thinking about leaving, there's always some sort of report. But there was nothing on Masai leaving, and that's how I knew he wasn't going anywhere, despite the lack of a contract. It was just a matter of what position he was going to have on the team, and because there's no salary cap on executives. He's been excellent here, on and off the court, in every way for this franchise. And outside of last year, where I had some issues with some of his signings, he's been great. He's made some great trades. He basically gave us a championship. I know there's a lot of people out there, and we're going to get to Kyle Lowry later, but to me, without Masai's balls, for lack of a better term, this team would not have a championship right now. When you fire the coach of the year and you trade the most popular player on the team for a 1-year chance at a championship, and you win it, you are a great GM, and you're a GM that's not afraid to make moves. So I would rather have him than anyone else. Outside of the horrible Aaron Baines signing, which I have documented in many of our past podcasts, and losing Serge Ibaka, who unfortunately had back surgery and was old, but just a bad replacement, and the Gary Trent Jr. overpay, I have no problem with Masai. He's been great for us, so I'm happy he's staying.
Skipper, I see you've changed your jersey.
No more Lowry for me, apparently.
Apparently so. But now that Masai is still here, he's made some incredible moves. Like Andrew Reece has alluded to earlier about the Jared Sullinger trade, acquiring him and Aaron Baines. Do you think Masai staying in Toronto is a great fit?
Oh, for sure. I think he's absolutely earned his rights to stay on with this franchise. Like you mentioned, some of those free agent contracts were problematic. They didn't work out exactly how expected. But you look overall at his body of work. It's uncontrovertible what he's done since he came here. He's been incredible. He made the playoffs 7 straight years. He's won a championship, obviously. Basically a winning record every year, except for that crazy anomaly of a year last season. Doesn't really count. So he's absolutely earned the right to stay on as long as he wants. He's earned the leverage to negotiate whatever contract he wants. And sort of to what Andrew was saying, I was sort of expecting this. I wasn't sure how sure I was that he was coming back, but I was pretty sure he wasn't just going to go to another team as the president, because there was starting to be some shuffling of the decks. There were other teams hiring GMs, and you just weren't hearing Masai's name. You weren't hearing Masai's name thrown out there very much in a lot of these deals. Teams were moving on; they were going with other executives. So what I was concerned about was, okay, is Masai going to say, I have done all I need to do building a championship. Now I'm going to go move on to the next stage of my life. I'm going to go move into Giants of Africa, into the commissioner's office, move into more of a political side than the GM side. So I think that was a legitimate concern. But I mean, what we forget is how much fun it must be to just run your own team. Like that's the dream, isn't it? I mean, I'm just talking about
That
this
is.
as a guy who plays like fantasy sports or like sim league sports. Like the joy is in building your team, building a roster, making trades. You're hustling, you're out there, you're looking for players, you're looking for advantages. You go move into the commissioner's office, it's just a bunch of politics. Like it's just like you just got to make people happy. People are whining at you all the time. Like that's not fun. That's not a fun job. Even just no, I'm just saying, like once you move into that political side of it, it's not as much fun. It must be so much more fun to just deal with GMs and players and just be in the nuts and bolts of it. So I think he had the leverage to get the contract he wanted, get whatever assurances he wanted. We still don't know the terms of the deal. If it's just a multi-year deal, I don't know if it includes ownership shares. I don't know how much money it's worth. I don't know how many years it's for. But the bottom line is he was always staying, and based on what he's built here, I don't think anyone can be unhappy with the fact that he's staying. He's absolutely one of the best executives in Raptors history, and he's earned his stripes.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you guys something. Masai, since he came in here on May 31st, 2013, I don't know if you guys saw that on the graphic there. Now he's a vice chairman. Skip, you just talked about making money off of it. If you're a vice chairman, you're definitely making money off of the organization. But what he has done for the Toronto Raptors, with the winning percentage in the regular season, the winning seasons, the 7 straight playoffs out of 8, the 6 out of 7 division titles, and becoming second in one of them, becoming an NBA champion, and not to mention the Giants of Africa. I was personally saying, and I'm gonna say this on record, guys, with him having the Giants in Africa, he wanted to be international. He has a rapport with the African players out there, such as Pascal, Giannis. He's helped them come up. And for him to go to below the 52nd parallel, to like go down to the States and try to do something, that doesn't help him. He's doing it internationally for us here in Canada, and especially us for here in Toronto. And he has done an exceptional job doing that. He is, shout out to Robert Mishovich. I saw what you said about him being under Doc Rivers. He has learned a lot from some of the greats, especially Jerry West, Logo. Now, guys, there was a player he had to get rid of, which we are all sorely missing. Did I say we? Damn it.
Again.
I know, right?
Just accept it, Brian.
There's a player that we are all missing from the Toronto Raptors, Kyle Lowry, and he penned a letter to everybody out here in Toronto, up here north of the border, and it was truly heartfelt. And Skip, I gotta ask you, what do you think about Kyle Lowry talking about him and DeMar DeRozan meeting here if it wasn't for the city of Toronto?
Yeah, that was sweet. The whole letter was sweet. I mean, we've gotten to this point in sports where this stuff has become so commonplace that it's kind of easy to just shrug it off and say, yeah, of course he's going to write a thank you note. But I will say there was something a little bit different about this one, where it really did feel like he's built a long connection to the city. He's got a lot of roots here. He's really developed into he's got so much status here that you can't just like say thanks for all the memories and walk away. Like it really is like a moment of like reflection. You're sitting back, you're like, holy crap, it's been 7 years, whatever it is, 9 years, I think it's been. 9 years, yeah, sorry, I don't know why I said 7. But yeah, it's
because you're thinking of his number.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very nice, and the stuff about DeMar, and you noticed he really shouted down everybody in the organization. He was going into like the behind the scenes people, the people that no one has ever heard of, the players he's played with, the fans, And yeah, I mean, obviously, what he and DeMar built here goes way beyond basketball. It sounds like they're like best men at each other's weddings type of deal. Like they're really tight, and it's true.
Like you
I
and
mean,
me.
yeah, that's just he grew up here, right? Like he was like 25 when he came here. Like he's my age. He's 35, so
He was
like
26.
yeah. So he was 26 when he came here. So yeah, it's very nice to see. I'm not going to get too choked up or caught up in all that because I know that this is sort of standard procedure. But at the same time, you could tell that it meant a lot to him and that he's not abandoning Toronto. He's not running away. He's not fleeing for greener pastures. It was just the time and place in terms of where the roster was, where he was in his career. There just wasn't that desire to maintain that relationship right to the end. But absolutely, he deserves to go out on his own terms, and I don't think anyone's going to hold that against him.
Now, Andrew, he did make a quote, and I want to ask you about this one, about the Raptors. He said, Toronto, you are in good hands with Pascal, OG, Freddie, my little brother. I love y'all. Do you think that the Raptors have a good foundation? Because he did say that as well. Do you think the Raptors have a good foundation, and do you think there's any merit to what he said?
Sure. I think that they have some good young talent. That's maybe not finished yet. So yes, I do think that he's correct on that. If you look at the Raptors' record without Kyle Lowry last year, at one point it was 16-0. So he has good reason to believe that we'll be okay without him. My takeaway from the Lowry letter was this. I find it amazing how he ended up coming here and how he ended up staying. Because when he was traded for, he didn't want to come here because the plan was for us to get Steve Nash or for him to be the backup. And so we made the trade anyway and didn't get Steve Nash, and he ended up being our starter.
Remember, he had to beat out Calderon that first year.
And he had to beat out Calderon. I was just going to get to that. He had to beat out Calderon, and he eventually did. And then when stuff started to go bad again, he almost got traded to the Knicks. And thank you, James Dolan, because you've been a bad owner for so long. Like it just the James Dolan is probably responsible for other teams getting championships. Like I'm not kidding. Like not just ours, but like a lot of other teams.
Just for being a moron.
And the best part is the reason he says he didn't do it is because we fleeced him in the Bargnani trade, which is true. But yeah, and then I find his story amazing. He had so many ups and downs, and I'd like to say that I don't know if we would be, and I said this on the Grow podcast that we did, I'm not sure we would be looking at him this...
On your show.
Yes, on this, we wouldn't be looking at him this fondly had he not won that championship. I'm going to stick to that. Yes, he would be DeMar DeRozan, but he would not be this worshipped, greatest Raptor of all time, legend, crying all over the place if he had not won that championship. And so
let's get started.
Because the Raptors were a team that really struggled before Kawhi came here. They were not a good team in the playoffs. And I know everyone wants to talk about LeBron, but they also got swept by the Wizards and old man Paul Pierce. And they also got beat by Brooklyn with Paul Pierce. So like this team struggled. Specifically, the Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan duo struggled in the playoffs mightily. And it wasn't until Kawhi came here that Kyle turned into this bulldog, no laughing, no joking around, serious player that seemed to play with more confidence and more fire in the playoffs. And the proof of this is the press conferences. Watch any press conference that Kyle Lowry did or any interview he did.
Oh, they were joking.
It was all jokes, and they were never going to win anything together, those two. And and once that trade happened, it was like all business. And so that's, to me, that cemented his legacy as a Raptor. And it's the reason why he'll be the first Raptor retired, or the second Raptor retired after Vince, and he'll have the first statue as a Raptor unless Masai gets it first.
Can I say something about this letter?
Oh boy. Here we go.
May I, guys? May I?
Brace yourselves.
Are we cool?
Yeah, we're cool.
Okay. Hold on. That one part of the letter I did not agree with. Oh, the sixth god. You are one of the greatest to do it.
Leave our mascot
What the
alone.
hell are you talking about the ambassador like that for? He didn't show up to one goddamn game this season. He went to go see LeBron, Bronny. He went to go see Steph. He went to go see everybody who got tattooed on his arm. Are you kidding me? I know he's a company man and he's got to say that for the team. But GTFO, are you kidding me? Because we keep this PG-13. I'm not going to say that word. Are you kidding me? That's the only part I absolutely disagree with. He's not one of the greatest. OVO gang. Oh my God. How are you going to introduce it to children and use the word gang? No, I did not appreciate that part. Every other word Kyle Lowry said, I definitely appreciated, and I thought it was great, except for that. You're ambassador. Are you kidding me? No, this is absolutely horrible. And you know what else is absolutely horrible?
What?
Other than the signing of what's his name the other day, Gary Trent Jr. What do you guys, Andrew? I'm going to ask you. Do you think with the signing of Khem Birch, do you think this is overrated?
No, it's exactly what I expected. We talked about this on your show earlier when Skip was just drooling over this guy, and I told him that he has an Aaron Baines complex, but because anyone playing there other than Baines would look good. But this guy was good. He averaged 11 points and 5 rebounds. He was surprisingly good from the 3-point line. He is a competent center, and you wouldn't have to pay him that much. As you saw in the reports today, he really wanted to stay here. He was courted by the Knicks, but he wanted to stay with the Raptors. He didn't care about dollar amount.
Was it the Knicks?
I believe the Knicks and some other teams, but Orlando. But he wanted to stay here. We gave him a very reasonable contract at 3 years, $20 million, which will help him develop. He'll probably start for the team, and I think that he'll be a very good fit with the team that Masai has put together. Hopefully, he can give them something better defensively and on the rebounding aspect. As you know, the Raptors are one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA. So hopefully, he develops and gives us more there. But I think that's why we weren't going after any of those centers. There were a lot of people asking us to go after other centers, but we already had Birch in the fold. We didn't have to pay him that much. So I'd much rather keep him than go looking for someone else.
Now, Skip, do you think we were speaking about this the other day with Robert and Tyler and even Andrew last time when he came on? We were talking about a fit for the Raptors at the 5 being a big. Do you think Khem Birch can be that guy?
Well, let's put it this way. Is Khem Birch the starting center on the Raptors' next championship team? No, he's not. But as far as where they were with the center position through most of last year, at the end of the year, what the options were on the market this year, it was totally reasonable to bring him back, to hold down the fort, let the young guys develop around him. I think I predicted in that podcast we're talking about, I think I said it was going to be 1 year $6 million or 2 year $12 million, something like that. So basically he got that contract, but an extra year added on. So not a big deal. Decent amount of money. Apparently word is he got bigger offers from other teams and he really wanted to come here. I even heard someone say he might have been offered $18 million a year, which I don't quite buy that. That was a rumor. I think maybe it was $18 million over 2 years.
Maybe that's his agent just throwing that out there.
And maybe he was like, well, I'll take the extra guaranteed $2 million for the starting job.
Unless it was Michael Jordan who gave Bismack Biyombo $18 million. It could have been Michael Jordan.
Yeah, well, anyway. I think here's the thing with Birch. I think he's very competent. He showed that he can fit in well to the team. The problem is he's not a great rebounding center. And the Raptors really struggled on the glass last year. And as we've gone over before on this show, I think they're going to struggle with their shot, especially in the half court this season. So not having a high rebounding center is not ideal for this team. I think there are some issues there. I think this team is not going to be amazing with Birch at the center spot. But the idea is just to have a competent body in there to hold it down so that you can build the roster around him and sort of see what the roster would look like 2-3 years down the road. And then maybe if you go out next offseason and you add a big, you just shift Birch into more of a bench role. I think that would be fine. Maybe if one of your bigs develops like an Achua or even Freddie Gillespie, if one of those guys really takes off, maybe Birch can slide back into that secondary role. But to start the year, I think he's absolutely the starting center. He gets big minutes. He got bigger minutes with the Raptors than he ever has in his whole career. He got 30 minutes a game last year. He's never had more than 22 minutes a game before that. Like you said, he was in double digits in scoring, which he's never done before in his career. So I think you just put that body in there, you plug and play, and you just roll with it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with it.
So Andrew,
Yeah.
You always have some hot takes. Do you have a question for us?
Well, just to finish off there, the theme of this Raptors team this year is going to be hardworking players who might outperform their contracts. That's going to be this team this year. So don't expect more than that, people.
Is that your question for us? Because I know you got some hot stuff for us.
Well, here's where I look at this roster and I say, Goran Dragic. Now, we got Goran Dragic in the sign and trade for Kyle. I've watched Goran Dragic all the way back to his Phoenix days, as well as in Houston and in Miami. He's always been a very good point guard. Mostly shooting. He's more of a shooter, but he can pass. He learned under Steve Nash. He was very good for Phoenix as a backup point guard. He's very injury prone, but to me, you keep him, and I'm sure he will be more than confident playing with this team of athletic players that the Raptors have. And he's in a contract year. He shoots the three relatively well, and he can pass it. So to me, you keep him. He plays, hopefully plays most of the year, plays for a contract, and then you either trade him at the deadline for some assets because there's going to be a team out there looking for a point guard, or you keep him and let him go in free agency. Either way, I think you trade him at the deadline, but either way, I think you keep him because Malachi Flynn, I'm sorry, all you Malachi Flynn fans out there, he's not ready to start.
That's me.
And I do not want to see Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent starting at the two guard spots going into the season. So
I think you're getting that either way, even if you don't want it. But
yeah, I think that's a nightmare. I think Fred VanVleet's gonna play very well this year. I think he missed Toronto a lot. I expect him to improve significantly. I'm hoping for the same from Siakam, as he seems to have been homesick for a year and a half. So those two players will be key to any success the Raptors have. But I'd much rather have Goran Dragic starting at the point than have Gary Trent start on this team.
I think we all would like Goran Dragic starting at the point in the backcourt with Fred VanVleet. Skip, I'm pretty sure you agree with me. Yes or no?
I think the reason I like that alignment better is because I think VanVleet shifts better to the two guard than the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's an undersized two guard.
Yeah.
So you guys get out there, go down there, click subscribe, click like, let us know what you think. Shout out to my man Andrew Reece. In the words of Kyle Lowry, thank you, Toronto. Thank you, Canada. This will forever be home. Guys, if that does not tear you up or at least pull some strings in your heart, I don't know what can. You're cold-hearted and don't ever talk to me.
Just wait till he comes back in November.
I can't wait for that game.
It's going to be, I'm predicting right now, like a 7-minute standing ovation. They're not going to be able to start the game after his introduction because they like to play the music.
I'm going to be sitting there in my living room standing up.
They are not going to let the game start.
And I'm not
I'm predicting
Raptors
it right
fan.
now. The Raptors fans are not going to let the game start. They're going to hijack the game.
Now, Drew, I do have one thing that last time you came on the show, you got me riled up about the ambassador. So now let me get you riled up. You have to put out a picture on Instagram with him, Lowry, and DeRozan saying the city is eternally yours. Who the are you? Are you kidding me? I couldn't take that. I couldn't handle it. It's not about you. It's about Kyle Lowry. It's about the Raptors organization. And more importantly, it's about you Raptors fans out there. You can't just you just use the word hijack. You cannot hijack this topic because this is big to all of us, especially me, not being a Raptors fan. Skip having to retire his shirt. You know, this is pretty big. Don't steal the attention. I can't stand this. That's not your ambassador. Drew, I'm pretty sure now I'm going to get you riled up. You're probably going to talk to your kid about this tonight, and he have no idea what you're talking about. But on behalf of myself, Skip, and Andrew, go find Reece on the Reece Report on Facebook and on YouTube. Go watch that show. Skip and I have been on there. We're frequent guests. Skip, you guys can find him at Dougie J's on Twitter. It's baseball season. You guys know you guys are going to love it. He's actually going to be on Andrew's show covering the Jays very, very soon.
Huge series against the Red Sox this weekend, guys.
We will be doing a show before, during, or after this Boston series, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know anything about that. You guys can find myself, King Hussein, on all social media platforms. To the Point, Instagram, Facebook, To the Point Raps on Twitter, youtube.com/To the Point podcast. And if you're not watching us on there, that means you're bootlegged, you owe us some money. So on behalf of all three of us, Andrew, thank you very much for coming back on. And tell your little man, thank you for being a little quiet during this round.
Yeah.
Send him my love. I'll get him a toy or something from McDonald's. I'll get him the Space Jam LeBron one where he can just beat it up. So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and
Peace.
peace.